We're here. It's 1:15, and we are live on LinkedIn. So this is very exciting. What are we talking about today, folks? We are talking about the real reason that your applications are going nowhere. So I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. You might be catching this on repeat, so do leave a little comment in there for me to let me know that you saw this. If you're here live, though, just give us a little comment. Let me know you're here. Hopefully, you've got time to get a little bit of lunch, perhaps. So, as we are coming in, let me know. Pop a comment in. Are you currently applying for jobs and hearing nothing? I know that that's for some of you. Just put quiet in the comments if that sounds really familiar to you. Just put quiet in there. Even if you're watching this on replay, just put it in there because I'll see it later. Today's live is for a very specific group of people. It's for people who are trying. It's for people who are putting the effort in. It's for people who are spending evenings applying, tweaking CVs, writing cover letters, updating LinkedIn, speaking to recruiters and trying to stay positive. And yet somehow nothing's moving. And what often happens at that point is that people start questioning themselves. Do you ask yourself this? Maybe my CV is terrible. Maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Maybe the market is impossible. Maybe they don't want employees my age. Maybe I've been out of work too long. I need more qualifications. Maybe I need more confidence. I bet some of you have thought all of those, or some of those at least. And before long, capable people start carrying a huge amount of self-blame. So if that's where you are, first of all, just put a comment in there that says stuck, because I want you to know that you're not alone. And if you come back to this later, because we did start our stream a little bit late today, I want to explain something that I think almost nobody explains properly. Just put that up there. Yes, let me know that you're here. I want to explain something I don't think people explain properly. The real reason many applications go nowhere. Not the motivational version, not this generic CV nonsense version, not keep going. You're so great, just keep going. What is actually happening behind the scenes? Because once you understand the mechanism and you stop randomly changing things and you start fixing the right problem, and by the end of this live, I want you to be able to answer one single question. Where is your job search actually breaking? For most people, the answer isn't where they think it is. So let's start with the most common belief. People think, we've got some people here today. Hello, folks. Lovely to see you. Sorry I was late. Hello, Amit. LinkedIn users. Can't see your details, but thank you for coming with us. And yeah, we're stuck and it's quiet, right? People think I'm not getting the results because I'm not doing enough. Or I'm not applying for enough jobs. Or I need to just keep going. Now, I understand why people think that, because effort feels measurable. You can count applications. You can count hours. You can count the amount of CV edits that you've done. You can count recruiter messages. So when results aren't happening, this instinct is often, I need to do more. Tell me in the comments, how many applications do you think you've sent in the last month? In the last 30 days, since the middle of May, you might have a spreadsheet. If you've got a spreadsheet, give me a whoop whoop. How many applications do you think you've sent in the last month? Put that number in the chat for me. I speak to people every week who have sent huge numbers. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes someone sends 150 applications a week. And someone else sends 5. And the person who sends 5 gets more traction. What? Doesn't make any sense. Why? It's not because they're better. It is not because they're luckier. It's because the signal is different. And this is one of the biggest shifts that I want people to make. Effort is not the same as signal. Effort isn't the same as the right signal. You can work so incredibly hard. You can, and some people they're sending loads of applications. They feel like they're tailoring those applications, spending ages on them. You can work so hard and still be sending weak signals into the market. And if that's applying more multiplies the problem. So if you're sending more weak signals into the market, you're multiplying that problem. Let's talk about what actually happens. And if you're interested in this kind of behind the scenes explanation, just put the comment risk in there for me. If you're interested to understand what happens behind the scenes, just pop risk in there for me. Because we're going to talk a lot about risk. One of the biggest misunderstandings in job search is this. People assume that recruiters and hiring managers are sat there reading carefully, trying to understand you. They're not. Not because they're bad people, and it's not because they don't care. It's because they don't have time. Most screening decisions happen so quickly. People are scanning, comparing, filtering, reducing risk, looking for relevance and evidence. They're looking for ease. And that's the important one. Ease. Can I quickly understand this person? Can I explain them to someone else? Can I justify putting them forward? Can I see the connection between their experience and this role? If the answer is immediately yes, fantastic. If the answer is maybe, you are already in trouble, because recruitment is comparative. People don't get rejected because they're bad. They get rejected because somebody else was easier to understand. And that's a completely different problem. And this is where capable people are getting missed. They've got the experience. They've got the knowledge. They could probably do the job. But the value isn't translated quickly enough. And if your value doesn't translate quickly, that system is moving on. So just put a comment in for me. Do you feel like recruiters understand your value quickly? Or do you feel like you're constantly explaining yourself? So do they understand your value quickly? Give me a yes. Or do you feel like you're having to explain yourself? Just give us a note there. So we've got 10 to 20 applications a week, which is huge, especially if you're busy with a contract. It's massive. So many. And you get many responses from that. Like, I'd love to know what the difference is between the split between ghosting. So after 3 weeks, we consider that ghosted if you've not heard from anyone. Rejected, so you actually get a rejection notice, thanks but no thanks, and human contact. I'd love to know the percentage split between those, please, LinkedIn user, because I can't see your name right now. Kylie, she wants to know more about what happens behind the scenes. So this is where you're going to hear a little bit more about this. So do you feel like recruiters understand your value quickly? If you feel like you're having to explain yourself, this is where the problem sits. So let me give you an example. This is based on a client, but obviously anonymized. Senior professional, excellent background, strong results, well respected, good experience, has been applying for months. How long have you guys been looking for? Just put the time in the chat for me. How long have you been applying for? They have been applying for months. Nothing. Absolutely convinced the market is broken. Absolutely convinced all recruiters were useless and weren't doing their jobs. Absolutely convinced nobody would hire them. When we looked at the CV, the experience was there. Of course it was, but there was a problem. That first page wasn't telling a clear story. The reader had to work. The relevance was buried in there. The target job they wanted to apply for wasn't obvious. Their positioning wasn't that obvious. The value, it was invisible. It wasn't obvious at all. This evidence was scattered about everywhere. Now, the candidate could explain it brilliantly. And this is what they say. If you could get me in front of somebody, I'll get the job. The CV couldn't. Huge difference. That CV is your key to the door. If you haven't got the key, you ain't going in. Big difference. So we didn't completely rewrite their life story. We didn't need to. We didn't invent achievements. We didn't need to. We didn't make them somebody different. We did not need to. They were good enough as it was, but we made it easier for somebody else to understand them. And suddenly, those recruiter conversations increased. Then interviews increased. Then momentum increases. Now notice what changed. Capability didn't change. The signal changed. And that is a very different diagnosis. So just comment for me signal if that makes sense to you. If you're like, this is becoming clear to me. Just put signal in the comments for me. Let's talk about what people usually do. And pops, any questions or anything that you've got in there, please, I will answer them. We're getting some responses. Contacted by Reed yesterday about a role. Fantastic. Seems woolly. Trainee manager. They seem a bit over keen and a bit pushy. That's not what we want. We want good jobs. Yeah, let me know what it is. If you want to send it over, I'll happily give you my opinion. So let's talk about what people do, what they usually do, because this is where confidence gets damaged, right? And as time goes on, the longer we're out of work, this makes a difference. So people apply, nothing happens. So then they panic and they do one of five things. They apply for more jobs. You done that before? Oh God, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to apply for more. They completely rewrite their CV. Who's done that? Oh, I'm just going to have to rewrite my entire document. They start applying for lower level jobs. Who started applying for lower level jobs? You know you have. If you've been looking for a while, I know you have. They start applying for anything. Anything, just to get someone to notice them. Or they start blaming themselves. And here's the problem. None of those actions actually diagnose the real issue. They're reactions. They're not diagnoses. It's like your car making a really weird noise. And instead of checking like actually what's wrong, you just keep changing like a random bit and like hope like something's going to fix it. And that's what many job searches become. They become random activity. There's no diagnosis. No diagnosis at all. Like, because you don't know what you're looking for. That's why you come into things like this, because you're looking for the answer. Like, tell me what is going on. I don't get any feedback. Tell me what's happening. So tell me honestly. Pop in the chat for me. What have you already tried? CV changes? LinkedIn changes? More applications? Recruiters? Networking? Put it in the comments. People are exhausted from trying solutions to problems that they don't actually have. So here's what I want you to start asking. So I'm going to ask some questions, get some yeses and nos in there. So, Dan, I've already done all those things apart from lower level jobs and I'm only 2 weeks out of work. Okay, so I think we need to talk, Dan, don't we? We need to have a little bit of a chat. You don't want to do all of those things. It's too much. Like the CV changes, because like you're not even giving what you're with the changes that you're making, you're not even giving them time to actually make a difference. If you see what I mean? Like if you were working on a project, you'd do something, you'd see whether it worked, and then you would iterate from there. But most of the time what happens, because like 2 weeks looking for a job is like an eternity. But if you're on the other side, well, if you apply for a job, I'm not even looking at CVs for 2 weeks. But for you, it's an eternity, right? So I've got some questions for you, right? So dependent on the answer, you're going to get a bit of a fix, right? So get your pens out because this is going to be useful for you. Right, question 1. Are you getting views from recruiters? So on your LinkedIn profile, you can check who's looked at your profile. If you've got premium, you can see loads of people. If you don't have premium, don't worry about it. You can see the last 3 because you know that you're checking it 10 times a day anyway. Are you getting views from recruiters? If no, visibility or positioning. So write that down. Which one you like? Am I getting views from recruiters? Yes. Okay, fine. If not, visibility, positioning. Question 2. Are recruiters speaking to you, but they're not submitting your CV. This is clarity or risk. So if recruiters are talking to you but they're not submitting, clarity or risk, write that down. I want you to share that with me because it might be something I can help with. Question 3. Are your applications going nowhere? Ghosted, rejected. This is relevance, positioning, or targeting. Question 4. Are you getting interviews but not offers? Completely different problem. Okay. Interview prep, storytelling, another day. Question 5. If I looked at your first page for 10 seconds at the most, would I immediately know who you are, what level you are operating at, what roles you're targeting, and why you're relevant for this job? If I looked at that first page for 10 seconds. Because if not, that could be where the signal is breaking. That's where you get rejected, actually. Not ghosted. You get ghosted because of the targeting and the positioning, but the signal will break and you'll get rejected because the human who's seeing it doesn't get it. So just comment below, where do you think the process is going quiet for you? If you kind of take a step back, where is it going quiet? So is it the applications? Is it by the time you get to a recruitment person? Is it interviews? Is it offers? Are you not sure? Because that answer matters. If you're not sure, it is the biggest clue. And we need to sort that out. Okay. So let me know. Where do you think the process is going quiet for you? Applications, recruiters, interviews? Not sure. Let me know. Pop it in the chat for me. While I hydrate. In other news, I heard it's going to be a balmy 30 degrees next week. It's bonkers, isn't it? We don't know what is going on. And this is exactly why I run the Job Search Reset Workshop on the 23rd of June at 11:30. If you want the link, just pop in the comments workshop and I'll send it over to you after this. Job Search Reset Workshop, 23rd of June, 11:30, and I'll send it over to you. The purpose of this workshop is not to give you generic CV advice. If you hung around with me for long enough, you know that's not my vibe. It's not to tell you to stay positive. I'm not a motivational speaker. And, good vibes don't get jobs. And it's not to tell you to apply for more jobs. You can get that advice from the job centre. It's to help you work out what is actually going wrong. Because once you know where that process is breaking, everything becomes easier. You stop guessing. You stop changing random things. You stop burning your energy. You stop blaming yourself. And you're starting to fix the actual issue. So if today's live is making you think, I don't actually know where my job search is breaking, just put the comment in workshop, and that's exactly who it's for. So get that in there and I'll send you over the details. So Kylie's saying that applications, we need you to come to this workshop, Kylie. It will really help, I promise. Because we need to know what is happening in there. Some people attend the workshop and they realise something. The diagnosis is clear, but they don't want to fix it alone. And that's where the sprint comes in. The 45-day job search sprint is for people who want structure, people who want clarity, who are just so sick of second-guessing everything. And inside the sprint, we work on all these things: positioning, CV, LinkedIn, targeting, applications, outreach, recruiter conversations, interview preparation, pipeline management, the whole system. Because job searches don't fail because of one thing. Usually it's a couple of small leaks creating a huge problem. And what we do is build a joined up system. Now, the sprint isn't for everybody. If you're just starting and you need a few pointers, come to the workshop. If you're already getting fantastic results, you don't need me. But if you've been stuck for months, or you cannot afford to be stuck for months, if you've lost confidence or you're terrified of losing confidence, if you know something isn't working but you just cannot see what it is, then yes, that's exactly the sort of person I am. And if you already know you want support, then you're welcome to message me directly. Okay. Georgiana, Kylie, I will see you there. I will send those details over to you afterwards, and I will see you there. Either way, we have a bit of fun together. So let's pull this together. The main lesson today is simple. The reason applications go nowhere is often not effort. You're doing loads, right? Let's be honest. What's the alternative? We're just going to do more. It's not helping, right? If you look at it percentage-wise, it's not helping. If you're getting 0% callbacks, if you apply twice as much, that percentage is still going to be the same, right? It's signal. Recruiters aren't career coaches. They're risk filters. Hiring managers aren't reading your whole career history. They're looking for evidence that reduces the risk. Because I want someone who's going to turn up every day. I want someone I can leave to do the job. I want someone who knows what they're talking about. The question isn't, can you do the job? The question is, can the person reading this quickly understand why you fit the job? You know you can do it, but they don't. They're just looking at a piece of paper. And those are very different questions. So I really want you to stop assuming that silence means you're not good enough. Please stop assuming that rejection means you're incapable. Please stop assuming that the answer is always more applications. Because often the real issue is happening so much earlier in the process. Okay? If today's live resonated with you, chuck workshop in the chat. If you are working at the moment and you don't want people to know that you're looking at this workshop or you're doing it in work time, I won't tell anyone, then just feel free to DM me and I'll send you the link. It's the 23rd of June at 11:30. It'll be like hour and a half. I kind of book it out for 2 hours because I often have loads of questions and stuff to answer. So, but the juice is for an hour or 90 minutes or so. So if you're tired of guessing whether it's your CV, LinkedIn, applications, interviews, positioning, or the market, come along. You're going to leave with a much clearer view of what you need to fix first. And if we are not in touch with each other and you're not connected to me already, if you found this useful, feel free to follow me, connect to me. I spend a lot of time explaining the bits of recruitment that most candidates never get to see, and hopefully helping people realise that they are not broken. They're often just solving the wrong problem. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you're watching this on replay, just chuck workshop in there and I will send you over the link. I'll make sure you get it. If you've got any questions, you feel free to DM me. I'm more than happy to help answer them. Otherwise, I will see you on the 23rd at 11:30, and usually I'm here on time, 1 o'clock every Thursday, and I will be here next week to talk about being qualified, but why you're not getting on the shortlist. So hopefully I will see you then. Have a lovely rest of your day. Enjoy the sunshine. I can see it's popped out, and I will hopefully see you next week. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.